Team Dr. Aisha. We are from SKE3533 Group 9, and this is our community education e-service learning, and our topic will be AN FFPN. Ambiguity modulation for AN is a way of sending information through the air. By changing the strength of a radio signal, you can think of it as a basic radio wave as a constant flank hum that will mold to carry sound. And we will make the peaks of the wave taller for loud sounds and shorter will be quiet sounds. The radio signal then will track this height and then changes and converts them into the original signal. While AN is highly effective for its greater range and its more simple technology, it will be low cost compared to other FM or PN, but unfortunately sensitive to static and interference, which often results in lower audio quality compared to other methods. So this one will be our AN demonstration. It will be jumping on a trampoline. And its perfect steady rhythm, this constant bouncing represents our carrier wave. In this demonstration, we don't change how fast we jump to send a code, but instead we vary the height of each lead, and then a tiny hole signals will represent a low value, while a massive lead represents a higher one. So your friend will watching you act as a receiver that ignore your steady timing and focus only on checking those changing jump heights or amplitudes to read the specific information that you are sending. Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about frequency modulation, or FM, a method of encoding information onto a radio wave. Unlike simply making a signal louder or quieter, FM works by changing its signal's frequency, essentially the speed at which a waves vibrate. So let's look at the core idea. Imagine a pure steady radio wave as a constant, a blank hum. To send information like music or voice, we mold this hum. We don't change its power, instead, we subtly speed up the waves, bunching them closer together to represent one piece of information. To represent another, we slow the waves down, stretching them further apart. The receiver in your car stereo is designed to be a meticulous tracker for these frequency changes. It doesn't listen for volume. It listens for this precise rhythm in the wave speed. By tracking how fast or slow the incoming wave is cycling, it can perfectly reconstruct the original audio signal. And this leads us to a lot of advantages of FM. First, it has high audio quality. Because it uses changes in frequency, FM can support a wide range of sounds, capturing the full richness of music and make it ideal for stereo broadcasting and clear audio transmission. And also second, it is largely static free. Since most electrical noise like sparks or lightning affects a signal's amplitude, FM ignores amplitude changes, and so the output remains much cleaner. So you can get that crisp, cracker-free sound. But, however, FM is not without its trade-offs. Its primary limitation is its short range. FM signals travel in straight lines and do not follow the curvature of the earth well, and so they are typically only limited to line of sight distances, meaning they don't travel really far beyond a certain distance. And furthermore, the technology is more complex. Transmitting and accurately receiving these precise frequency variations require a more sophisticated and more expensive equipment compared to AM that is. And a helpful analogy is this police siren. Normally it was at a steady unchanging pitch. So now imagine we use FM to send a message with this siren. We wouldn't turn the volume up and down. Instead, to signal a high or digital one, we would make the siren's pitch cycle very rapidly. These sound waves will be bunched tightly together. To signal a low or digital zero, we would drastically slow the siren's cycle down, so the sound waves are stretched more far apart from each other. So our receiver, let's say a friend, is tasked only with decoding these changes in pitch and timing. Crucially, if the wind muffles the siren slightly or a truck passes by, the loudness might change, but the fundamental pitch we've encoded remains clear. Our friend can still decode the message accurately. This highlights the FM's key strength, resilience against amplitude-based interference, what we commonly know as static. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Next, I will be explaining the third way of sending information in communication system, which is phase modulation PM. It is a way of sending information by changing the starting point or timing offset of a radio signal with constant radio strength. So how PM works? Now imagine a radio wave like a person working with perfectly regular stride. To send a message, we do not change how loud the sound is or how big the steps are. Instead, we slightly shift when each step happens, maybe a little bit earlier or a little bit later than what we expected. Finally, the receiver checks very carefully to these shifts and use them to figure out the message, turning them back into the original audio or data. So the shift in the timing is like this, in which the waveform, the change in waveform may be a little bit earlier or later than what we expected, as defined as advanced phase or delay phase here. So now, why are we using PM? This is because it comes with the advantage of having high data efficiency, in which it is useful in Wi-Fi or GPS. And also it has excellent noise immunity, since they ignore the electric static or interference to keep the output data clean. But it also comes with disadvantages, in which we need advanced hardware or expensive hardware to track the tiny shift in the timing. And also the synchronization issues is one of the disadvantages of PM, in which the sender and receiver need to perfectly in sync. Otherwise, the message will be unreadable. So now for the demonstration, imagine a drummer playing a perfectly steady and constant beat on a drum to represent a radio signal like this. So the drummer is playing the drum with regular and constant beat. In PM, the drummer doesn't change how hard they hit the drum or the overall speed of the music, but they occasionally shift the timing of a single beat. Maybe they strike a bit earlier or later than what we expected to create a small hiccup in the rhythm to send the message. Let's take for example, the gap between each beat is 1 second, and now the fifth beat, I shift it half a second before. Like it should be happen in the time of 5 seconds, but now it happens in 4.5 seconds. So your friend will keeps a perfectly synchronized clock and ignores the volume and speed, while listening only for those tiny shifts in timing to decode the specific information we are sending. So that's it for PM.
In summary, we have learned 3 types of modulation, which is amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, and phase modulation. So the first type, amplitude modulation, what we modulate is the amplitude or the height of the signal. So the result is tall peaks for loud sounds and short peaks for quiet sounds. The second type of modulation is frequency modulation. What we modulate is the frequency, where it is the speed of the signal. The result is tight waves for loud sounds and stretch waves for quiet sounds. Lastly, phase modulation, we modulate the timing or the phase of the signal. So the result is it jumps in between the rhythm for data. That's all from us. Thank you.